am excited to next introduce the A Million at One. This is our finale. All right. A Million at One. Let me share just a little bit on how this came about. So in 2020, a lot of you remember the quarantine phase. May 2020, it was kind of like, okay, we've been cocooning. We weren't sure what the world was going to like when we got out. Like, once we get out of the cocoon, what's going to be there, right? And I took this big leap and did like a an investment in a business coaching. And one of the questions I was asked is to think bigger than my own mind would go. And I went on a walk and I was like in prayer mode. And I was like, okay, God, give me a number because I don't think, like I'm not going to come up with a number. Give me a number. And it was a million. And the purpose was meditators. So I had developed quantum wholeness meditation and I'd used it in working with couples who were in conflict. And during quarantine, I actually had 8 couples in my dissertation study who we were able to transform their relationships and prevent. Well, some got back together. Some could have split up during that time period. There's a lot of stuff going on in the spring of 2020, and a lot of couples were home together, and all the stuff was coming up. And so it saved some relationships and marriages. And so I was ready to take quantum wholeness meditation further. And what I discovered is that, yes, couples are great to work with, but to have an expanding group was what was next. And so we have been consistent for the last 5 years, I would say, and almost 5 years. And so there's been a little bit of shifting in who's on board. Joann has been there from the beginning, and Danny's been there almost from the beginning, and Julie's been there since 2022. And so we stick together. This is a long-term relationship kind of community. And we would love to invite you to be part of it. All right, that's what that 30-day experience is, to be part of this community. So our topic is spiritual abundance, a journey from root to crown. So these meditators that are part of this community are going to teach you about that spiritual side, the quantum level. When you look at the 4 bodies, 4 medicines, this process of full-bodied abundance. And I believe Joann is first.
Yes, I'm here. All right. So I know everyone has a lot to chew on, so I'm going to give you a little bit more, but digest as you feel comfortable. So there is a core, we've been studying A Course in Miracles, and in our Tuesday meetings, we've shifted things over to focus on conscious abundance. And it's not just conscious abundance, but it's conscious abundance masterminds. So we have this one particular quote that stood out the most this week. I believe it was either this week or last week. Only those who have a real and lasting sense of abundance can be truly charitable. Who can relate to the why of making a social impact with their abundance? So sit with that, see how that feels to you. And during this conversation that we were having, we got into the topic of embracing polarities, this and that. There is a this and that paradigm that we have been experiencing through many generations, through many decades, if you want to call it that. If you want to go further, you can. But that life often presents us with choices framed as opposites. Embracing both sides can lead to a greater understanding and balance. So when you're thinking about this or that, what does that look like to you? For me, it's like my creative genius as well as my analytical genius. I either can be creative or I can be analytical, but I cannot be both. A society tells you you cannot be both, but that's a lie, because you need both to create masterpieces. Because I'm pretty sure there's many masterpieces out there that have both the analytical and the creative. And I was just recently told by someone is that you don't have a left and right brain. You just have a brain. And they work together in harmony. So the power of choice is when you find yourself in that this or that, make the choice. Making choices is essential. The readiness often comes through the action. So what does that look like? So when we can choose to take a step, even when we don't feel like we're fully prepared, even when you don't know what it looks like, just say, I'm ready. Even if I don't know I'm ready, just choose that you're ready, and that will reveal itself. And then awareness before manifestation. Awareness is crucial because we can manifest our desires. Recognizing our current state helps us move forward towards our goals. So when you're in that this or that, just recognize it for what it is. I was like, okay, well, there's two sides of myself that are fighting. Who do I need to go with first? Who's going to lead? And then who's going to follow? It's supposed to be a harmonious dance. There is no pushing. There's no fighting. There is not supposed to be any type of conflict at all, because it's why you have this and that. Feeling put together. Acknowledge the struggle of fitting creativity into structured frameworks. Finding ways to integrate creativity can lead to a sense of wholeness. Now, this for many people can look a little bit different. Like for me, like I said, it's the creative aspect. For you guys, it could be something completely different. So when you're putting those aspects, this and that together, just take a look at what those look like for you. And then the transitioning mindset, shifting from an either or mindset to one that embraces both directions. This transition can enhance personal growth and understanding. And then the role of meditation with all this is that it can reveal insights about holding polarities together, and it can foster a sense of neutrality and expansion. So holding polarities together, it's possible to acknowledge both the positive and negative aspects of our life. This balance can lead to a deeper connection and understanding. Now, again, when you're looking at the negative, don't see it as a negative, because at the end of the day, there is growth that can be had through a negative. Even right now, even if you're not feeling like it's going to turn out okay, just know that there's a reason why you're experiencing what you're experiencing at that particular time. What you appreciate appreciates. When you make a difference with what you have, it expands. Collaboration creates prosperity. In appreciation of all that we have and already have, we can re-see the possibilities, identify a vision, and make a commitment and act on it. So I like that. All right. So how did this all come about? I wanted to say that we make great breakthroughs in our meditations, and we do it 3 times a week. But the biggest breakthrough you will ever experience is after our Divine Connections group. Once a month, we have what we call creative sprints from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And those who do get the upgrade will be able to experience one of those sprints. And you will see that it will move mountains. It'll continue to move mountains even beyond the 30 days. So that's if you guys are interested and willing to join us, please do so. And that is me. Christy, anything you want to fill in the blanks for?
Yes, when we talked about the stair step, that's what the vertical shift is usually something you wouldn't be able to do every day. So I've gone to like silent retreats for 4 days of silence. That's a vertical shift. You come away different. The year I went to Uganda, that was a vertical shift. I came away different. So our creative shifts are exactly that. It's like a day of the month you can go vertical, and you create the space for it and the intention for it. And we meditate 3 times, which is powerful. And yeah, it's like the preparation for it is important because you want to be really intentional with how you're gonna spend that day. Thank you for pulling that back up. So, and then the idea is after the sprint, then you've made progress and you maintain it with the horizontal. So examples are writing books. Like that's how I've written a book, is with a day where like 5 hours is carved out for me to work on that. And because of that, I work on it for at least 5 hours the next week. It may not be out the same time, but it creates a vertical or a horizontal maintenance as well. All right, we're going to move on to Julie Obenchain.
Next.
Yeah?
Yes.
Perfect. I'll let you take it away.
I think we need to do a nervous system reset. So let's stand up for a minute. Wiggle around, stomp, do a hula hoop with your hips, whatever you need to do to get your nervous system relaxed. I know mine's feeling a little tight, so just move and flow, stomp around, ground yourself, do some squats, whatever you feel your body's needing to loosen up and get back in a different frame of mind. So to start with, let's talk about our crown for a moment. We have our crown chakra. Crown chakra is where our spiritual power comes into us. It's our relationship with our higher power. It's the connection with the universe. It's that flow. And it is truly our crown. God wants us to feel abundant. And my definition of abundance is living joyfully and powerfully, regardless of circumstances, but with the resources you need to be able to do so. So whatever that joyful, powerful, living in your identity and who you truly are, and that God wants us to live in that. He wants us to be joyful. He wants us to live according to our purpose. And I'd like you to think about, okay, say you make $50,000 and you add a zero to that. You've literally gone from 50,000 to 500,000. What does your brain do? So your brain probably is doing a freak out going, no, that's not possible. Or even try adding another zero. Now you've multiplied 10 times again. Now you've got 5 million. And if you're like most of us, then your brain's really in panic mode. And it's coming up with all the reasons why that can't be possible. Why? No way, that can happen for somebody else, not for me. But sit with that for a minute. Just think about, okay, if there was an extra zero or 2 zeros added to my current income, what would I do with that? What purpose would it serve? Where would I be able to make a difference? And you might imagine being in that place. You might be someplace in Africa helping build wells, or you might be empowering people to heal relationships. You might be, whatever comes to mind, but sit with that. How does that feel? Can you see yourself being in a place of influence, of personal power, of being in a flow where you receive, where you give, and it comes and it goes and it's there? And as you think about that, think about the fact that zero is a placeholder. And somebody this morning in a different call I was on, they said, the devil is in the decimal, but God is in the comma. The devil wants to limit us and move the decimal so that we feel like we're less, like we're insignificant, like we don't have enough. God wants to move the comma, put another comma in there to bless with abundance. So which leads us to the second slide, which is the law of transmutation. And this is that everything has already been created. It's already there. It's already in the universe, but it's coming into form in one way or another. And it's like the seasons. In wintertime, we have a fruit tree. If you're looking at a fruit tree, it's dormant. It looks like it's dead. No leaves, but it's still alive. It's growing. It's nourishing from within. And then spring comes, it starts to blossom, get its leaves. And it becomes, it starts to create and show its creation. But then summer comes and the fruit comes on. And it takes it a while to ripen. But then you can, after it ripens, you can harvest it. But then it goes through a phase of refreshing, of downtime. And often our abundance, our lives go through phases, go through those different seasons. We have the seasons. So going back to that 50,000 or 500,000, or building a relationship, or getting out of debt, or whatever those goals are that you're looking to achieve, if you think about it, those resources have already been created. They're already there for you. You just have to step into it by believing, by training your brain to receive it. Our abundance, or sense of abundance, is tied to our identity and our purpose. And each of us deep inside has something, has a purpose. We feel like there's something deep within that's driving us. It might be being able to help others heal. It might be solving a problem, creating a solution. There's a sense of purpose. And often we feel like there's something there, but we don't know quite what it is, and we don't know how to get there. Anybody feel that way? I know, and I've heard from a lot of people recently that we're in a transition phase, and I'm right there with you. Yeah, we're trying to figure out what's our next stop, where we're going, what is our true purpose here? So we're kind of bouncing around in this between space. But the clearer we get on what our purpose is, what our divine cause is, what we're meant to do to make a difference, then the resources flow to us as we gain that clarity, as we start to recognize, okay, this is truly what is empowering. This is me. Then those resources come to us. And, just like with the seasons on the fruit tree, we may not be seeing things coming into blossom, into harvest right now. We might be in a phase where we're being told to be still, to strengthen from within, and then be able to branch out. And we might be being told to get grounded. But we have these different phases, but that doesn't mean that whatever we're seeking or whatever our purpose isn't already there. It's being brought to us. But we're we're in a phase of development before we can receive it. Let's take a moment, and I'm going to have you take out a paper or workbook, whatever you have handy. Write down what you feel driven to do. What is that divine purpose, that sense and you might not be clear on it yet, but whatever is coming to mind, write it down. And as you write that down, we're going to do a bit of a visualization as you just step into it. Like Christine said before, you might draw that circle and step in. And what does that feel like? What do you see? Who are the people you're working with? What are the feelings of making a difference, of those people giving you a hug and saying, oh, this is so wonderful, thank you. Or that marriage that was repaired because of your help. Whatever it is, feel it, see it, believe it, accept it. And then how much more would you need in resources, whether it's money, whether it's the right people, the right connections, what resources would you need to be able to achieve that? Be as specific as you can. The more specific you are, it's like if you're in a fog and your headlights are just diffused and you can't really see. But like if you take a laser and you point it at something, you've got pinpointed accuracy. So the more pinpointed, the more specific, the better. And just sit in that for a moment, that just feel receiving all the resources you need. And your nervous system might be freaking out, so you might wiggle and shake a little bit or whatever helps you to accept it. You might tap on it, whatever helps you to release that nervous system thing. But then focus on that greater good and how that abundance is coming in. And with that, recognize that God delights to bless you with abundance. Just sit with that. He delights to bless you. This is your birthright. Your birthright is to live abundantly. Now, that does not mean there are times in our lives, even with that we have to go through times of not having as much. And there's lessons and growth in that. But that does not diminish our value. Our bank account is not correlated to our value, which is incredibly important. Now, these laws, there's several laws of the universe that apply to abundance. And these come, the ones that I'm using come from Leslie Householder's book, Hidden Treasures, which we've been studying for the last month in our Tuesday morning groups. But this law is the law of rhythm, meaning that, and it goes along with the law of transmutation, that everything is in flow. But with that, being able to give to multiply. Now that makes no sense to most of us. If I give, I have less. But actually, the opposite of that is true, that as we give, it creates a rhythm, it creates a flow. Like dropping a pebble in a pond, it sends out a ripple and it touches lots of lives. So when you spend money on something, then it helps the person that you've given the money to, and they pay their bills, and it just keeps cycling through. And with that, also, what we give comes back to us in new ways. And it may not come back in the way that we thought it would, but like you may, let's say you lost your job and you're worried about employment, worried about how to pay the bills, going to lose the house, how am I going to take care of the kids? But when we stop worrying and surrender to our higher power and let him direct, then all of a sudden we get that phone call that offers us the perfect job. We get extra money in the mail. Somebody does a service free of charge. Something comes up that continues that flow. So even if you're in that space of scarcity, it doesn't mean that that it's not coming. But as we multiply, it comes back to us. And along with that, and we've talked about expressing gratitude. The more that, when you pay a bill, express gratitude that you have the resources to pay it. Bless it that it goes out. and serves. The more you give gratitude and bless it, the more it also comes back. So like the fruit on a tree, there might be 50 seeds in an apple. And that one apple can create 50 trees, which can create hundreds of more apples, and so it goes. With that giving, it doesn't mean that we just give to all who ask. We can give wisely. We can seek inspiration on the best ways to give, the best ways to magnify our resources to help and to build the community, which I think is an important point to make. Giving our abundance the power to create a better world is not what we really want. We don't really, I know for myself, I don't have a money figure of, if I make this much money, I feel abundant. For me, that's irrelevant. But if I can make a difference, if I can be empowered to touch others' lives, then that's where it's at. Along that line, how can I live joyfully now? How can I live according to my purpose and my divine identity now with whatever resources I have? I can help a neighbor down the street. I can call someone. I can take a meal to somebody. Whatever it is, at whatever level, I have the ability to do now. It might be time resources. It might be whatever. But being able to live true to your identity now and live joyfully now also brings that abundance in. And we've talked about the tree, but we've talked about the root and building from the root, nourishing our tree, and the harvest, bringing forth the fruits. And that crowning purpose is to have the abundance to live joyfully, to share, to be an influence. And as we live in our true identity, then that flows to us more easily. Our Tuesday morning groups, we do conscious abundance. We have been reading Hidden Treasures. This next month, we will be reading Jackie Woodside's book, Money Vibes. So those of you that have received it already, you're on the right track. Those of you who would like to join us, you might get the book and start reading it. But we also do a meditation related to abundance. And then also on Fridays, we have at 9:00 a.m. Mountain Time as well, we have a divine connection where we tune in and we pray, we meditate, we talk about blessings. If there's specific needs of prayers, we dive into that as well. So, and both of these are very powerful groups. There is power in united meditation. Hopefully you felt that in this. And there's power in uniting together for a cause together. And so I invite you to join our Conscious Abundance group on Tuesdays or Divine Connection on Fridays. And I'll turn the time back to you, Christine.
Julie and Joann co-lead on Fridays, and I am so grateful I was able to attend this morning. It was what allowed me to be present for the rest of the day. There's times when these groups are so powerful, and they are actually in the book. We're going to give another one of these away, and we're going to give away the Soul of Money. And so stay to the end, because I'm going to give away 2 more books. And DaNi, you get to take the last 10 minutes or so.
Hey, thank you so much. So I get to lead the Wednesday group, which is Miracles and Meditation, where we study A Course in Miracles and also meditate. And I would, if you're close to your computer, your phone, whatever it is, if you could take screenshots of these quotes, because we're a little short on time and I'm not going to be able to like dive into some of them the way I'd hoped to. So take a screenshot and just ponder on these on your own, because I love A Course in Miracles has changed the way I have understood abundance. And so I'm excited to share some of these quotes with you, but we don't really have time to like deep dive into them. So this one I love. You can make an empty shell, but you cannot express nothing at all. You can wait, delay, paralyze yourself, or reduce your creativity almost to nothing, but you cannot abolish it. You can destroy your medium of communication, but not your potential. I just love, like, there's all these things that we can do. We can wait and delay and paralyze and, abolish or destroy our communication, but we cannot abolish our creativity and we cannot destroy our potential. Like, those are things that like God holds for us and we can't touch those things. So I love that so much. And this next quote is kind of long, so I broke it up into a couple slides. But I want you to really focus on the like highlighted parts, because we could talk a long time about just this part. But in the creation, God extended himself to his creations and imbued them with the same loving will to create. You have not only been fully created, but have also been created perfect. There is no emptiness in you. There is no emptiness in you. Because of your likeness to your creator, you are creative. No child of God can lose this ability because it is inherent in what he is, but he can use it inappropriately by projecting. The inappropriate use of extension, which we call projection, occurs when you believe that some emptiness or lack exists in you and that you can fill it with your own ideas instead of truth. So that's how projection happens, is we're meant to extend the way God extended and created us. That's what we're meant to do, because another place in A Course in Miracles, it says, you are the perfect creation of the creator of perfection. So God can only create perfection, that he's not capable of creating anything else. So we are already perfect. But when we believe that there's some lack in us, then we start to project and we take whatever we believe, whatever lack we believe, and we start to see it outside of us. And that's when we start to see lack in the world around us, is because we first felt that there was lack within us. So if we can go to the next slide. So the way projection happens, this process involves the following steps. First, you believe that what God created can be changed by your own mind. So basically, you think you have more power than God and you can change what he made. Second, you believe that what is perfect can be rendered imperfect or lacking. So again, you think that if God made something perfect, that somehow you can change that and you can make it imperfect. Third, you believe that you can distort the creations of God, including yourself. So even though God made you perfect, you can somehow, mess that up because you're that powerful. And fourth, you believe that you can create yourself and that the direction of your own creation is up to you, which just goes along with those previous three. And then it goes on to say, none of this existed before the separation, or in Christianity, we call it the fall. So none of this existed before the separation, nor does it actually exist now. Everything God created is like him. Isn't that so beautiful? So truth is always abundant. Those who perceive and acknowledge that they have everything have no needs of any kind. The purpose of the atonement is to restore everything to you, or rather, to restore it to your awareness. You were given everything when you were created, just as everyone was. Can you imagine if we all believed that we had everything? If we all believed that and we were all willing to share abundantly because we knew that we had everything. Oh, what a different world this would be. And like I said, this is something that I've studied A Course in Miracles for a while now, and I'm starting to understand. The reference is down at the bottom. So ACIM 1474-4-7. So if you take a screenshot, all of these quotes
Also,
will have
there is a specific edition. We use the one that's for the Foundation of Inner Peace, and it's all of the books together, preface, text, workbook, everything. So it looks like this. Okay.
The Holy Spirit will help you reinterpret everything that you perceive as fearful and teach you that only what is loving is true. And I have an experience with this just really fast. I was really concerned about money. There was this one day it was really on my mind, and I just couldn't stop thinking about how in my past I have had so many experiences of not having enough. And even though I'm reading in A Course in Miracles that I have everything, right? And technically I have no needs of any kind. And I'm like, well, that's really hard to believe because there's all these times when I didn't have enough to meet whatever I thought my needs were. And um, and there's another place in A Course in Miracles where it talks about how to see things differently. And so I was meditating on how can I see this differently? Because it kind of feels like God has abandoned me over and over and over again in my life. And I feel like I've done everything right. I've tried to do everything right. And still, like, I didn't get, what I was praying for or what I felt like my family really needed. And so I was just kind of feeling some of that abandonment. And I was like, but I know that God wouldn't, logically, I know. So how can I see this differently? And I was meditating, and I saw in my mind myself sitting on a beach at the ocean, and these big waves would come in and like almost cover me, and then they would go out, and then another wave would come in and it would go out. And I had the understanding that the waves were money. And I thought, why do they keep going out? Like, I can't make the waves stay. And like they come and I'm all surrounded with, money and abundance, but then it leaves and I can't make it stay. And I don't understand why. Like, why is this happening? And then I started to notice, I happened to look down when a wave went out and I saw these beautiful seashells. And the word that came to my mind was treasures. And I noticed when the next wave came in that when the wave came in, I couldn't see the shells. It was only when the wave was out. And so I was like, okay, so there's certain treasures I can only find when the wave is out, when the money is gone, or whatever resources. And so then I all of a sudden remembered this dream that I have that someday I will be like so connected with God, with my source, that I can get an inspiration to like buy a plane ticket and go to Germany. And I won't know why. And I have no connections in Germany. I'm just picking a random country, by the way, but just get this inspiration, like get a ticket and go to this place. And I'll be like, well, I only have money for the ticket. I don't have money for food or lodging. I have no connections. Like, I don't know why I'm going there, but I will have at that point have so much faith and be so connected. It'll be like, okay. And I'll get a plane ticket and I'll show up at the airport, and then people will be put in my path and they'll be like, hey, do you have a place to stay? I'd love if you stayed with me. And, and I'll like meet whoever it is I need to meet and have whatever impact I need to have. And they'll have impact on me. I'll learn whatever I need to learn. And like, that is such a like dream I want so badly. And so during this meditation, as I remembered that and saw these treasures that were only there when the waves were out, I realized that I was being given, when the money was gone, opportunities to develop that kind of faith. That there are certain lessons in faith I could only learn when it looked like the wave was gone and I didn't know when it was coming back. And so I just love that third quote: the Holy Spirit will help you reinterpret everything that you perceive as fearful and teach you that only what is loving is true. So really, God is always only giving us our deepest desires. And sometimes it takes difficult circumstances. I love how Jackie talked about it's only a circumstance. We get these circumstances that seem difficult, but it's actually preparing us for what we really, really want. And that's what I understood from that meditation that I did. So anyway, next slide. Sorry, this is the end. So we had talked about this, if you can't do Tuesdays at 9, like they've been talking about, like that abundance group, Harley and I have put together a 6-week course, abundance course. And I kind of think of it as like a boot camp and like a deep clean to help your abundance mindset. And I also feel like, oh, and so take a screenshot of this. There's the link. There's also a QR code if you want more information about that course. It won't start until August. But something I also love about what Christine is offering and their 30-day thing and the different, if you want to do the next slide, Harley, the different meetings. So the conscious abundance, miracles and meditation, and divine connection is it's such a good, like, it's great to do these deep cleans, right? Or these verticals, like Christine was talking about, those vertical experiences, but you need some maintenance. Otherwise, it's really easy to like slump back down into what you had before. And so I love that what Christine is offering is this kind of maintenance thing where you're always getting like this little weekly boost to help you after these vertical jumps. So our course is kind of like a vertical jump. And then what Christine has and this is just helps to maintain that and keep it growing so that it doesn't kind of slump back down into the old habits. So, okay, I'm done.
Awesome. You're the best. So this is the thing for the $77 30-day experience. You could do all 3. We don't want to overwhelm you. And I think you'll feel like you've got more than your investment in one group, but it is available if you want to experience all 3. And so the gold upgrade again includes the private sessions, the full ZPM experience, and the pre and post full assessments. And then the regular monthly includes groups with DaNi, with Julie, and with Joann, and all of our amazing people. So it works in that it holds your frequency up. This is the thing. If you experience that jump up, this is what maintains your higher frequency. These groups are amazing. And I'm just really excited to see, I'm hoping some of you will decide to join us. It's been amazing to get to know some of you slightly. We really get to know you in our groups. That's what we really want. We want to build a relationship with you and get to know you and get a feel for like, there's more. We do more, but we are doing the groups this summer. And so we'd love to see you in them. So it's exciting. Okay. Thank you all so much. It's been a day. I'm so glad this is where I spent my time and energy. Honestly, I hope others feel that same thing. And this is going to be a boost for you and for the people close to you. And thank you. It was good. Let's all get off mute and say goodbye. I think that'd be fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, everyone.
Everyone. Thanks so much, Christine. This is amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.